Hello everybody, welcome to To Be Seen. I'm Brandon Lou, and this is Comic Conversation. You might have already guessed by the title of the video, or the thumbnail, or the shirt that I'm wearing right now, but today we are talking about the Loki season finale. Before we get there, do you like the shirt? Does it make it look like I'm pandering, or do I look like, authentic, like I know what I'm talking about? Doesn't matter, I like this shirt. So let's just get the show on the road. Spoilers ahead! Recap coming through. Sylvie and Loki are standing outside of the Citadel of Time, giving each other looks of anticipation, trying to figure out, are we ready? As they go and they step in to confront who the man behind the curtain is for the TVA.
Nobody can see the Great Oz, not know how.
Oh, but please, it's very important.
Miss Minutes arrives one final time to make them an offer that they can have anything they want. They can be together and be happy in their own place in the timeline if they just walk away right now. To which they say, nah. And then they get to meet Kang, or a Kang. Perhaps I should call him Nathaniel Richards, but the subtitles and the captions, they say he who remains, and even he who remains finds it amusing that they're using that name. But that's who he is. He's he who remains, because he's not the Kang we recognize, but it's Kang. It's Jonathan Majors. He's cast as Kang. That's the guy. He who remains explains to Loki and Sylvie that this has all been predetermined. They are there because he wants them to be there. He laid out the path that they walked on, and so here is where the final choices are being made. The choices being, you can kill me now, and we can just split the sacred timeline. And the other option is, you can let me walk away and you guys take over, and you can return to the TVA and just run it however you see fit and protect the sacred timeline. You guys run it. He explains to Sylvie and Loki that they are walking on the path that he laid out for them, and that he is from the 31st century. He's a scientist. He discovered that these parallel universes were stacked above his, and all the other variants of himself similarly discovered the same thing, and they all met, and it seemed pretty chill, but not all of the variants felt the same way. Maybe he had a crocodile version of him too. I don't know. We don't talk about it. But we do know that there was a multiversal war because some variants of him were conquerors, because he's a conqueror. He who remains has been pruning universes, trying to keep the sacred timeline safe so that we wouldn't have universal wars. He's been protecting us from these evil variants of himself. He's been protecting us from Kang, from ever existing. And so he presents this final offer. Take my place and do the job that I've been doing, because I don't want to do it anymore. I'm older than I look, and I'm tired, and it's hard work, and you guys do it. You run it however you see fit. Or you can get your retribution and take me down now, but know that the sacred timeline will no longer be protected, and you'll see that I've been telling the truth this whole time. And while Loki is afraid and believes everything that he who remains has been saying, Sylvie believes that this is just more of the lie. And now we have these two Lokis pitted against each other. After they've been bonding, they had a smooch. There was a smooch, but Sylvie can't trust Loki. She believes that this has been the plan all along. This has been a long con, that Loki finally gets to sit on a throne and be in control of everything like he's always wanted. And the question is even asked, why don't we see things the same way? And Loki responds, because you can't trust and I can't be trusted. And it was really heartfelt, heartbreaking. I was tearing. It was sad. I had a lot of emotions watching this episode. Sylvie is a clever and sly goddess, and even though there was some tender moments between the two, loving gazes eye to eye, she manages to send Loki back to the TVA, and there, alone in the Citadel with he who remains, he is no longer remaining because she stabs him in the chest. But before he dies, there's a laugh, and he who remains gives Sylvia look and says, "See you soon," and gives her a wink, and then and it was like, oh snap, things are happening, things are changing, timelines are branching, and when we go back to where Loki is, he's in a TVA, but it's not the TVA he remembers. Erected statues of Kang now stand there. It's begun, the multiversal war. Kang is here, conquering. And I'm excited. We have a lot to look forward to. You've got Ant-Man. We know Jonathan Majors is going to be there doing the Kang thing. I don't know if he's going to be the main villain or if he's just making a cameo, but I know he's going to be there. We know we have Spider-Man and No Way Home, and then there's going to be, multiversal things happening there. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I've been talking about that since WandaVision, so we know that's happening. We have a lot to look forward to, a lot of craziness, and it all began because Hulk doesn't like stairs. So let's talk about it. I'll start. I fucking love the show. I loved it. It's my favorite show. It's funny. Me and producer Joe. What up, Joe?
What up?
We disagree on WandaVision. What if you remember even before WandaVision came out, I said I was excited to see it. He wasn't.
Total trash.
But I really dig the show. And that was my favorite. But I also really liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I like that show too. I thought they were all like they scored some runs, but they weren't home runs. They didn't completely all knock it out of the park, but I thought they were both great shows. Loki, wow, that from beginning to end is no problem. I love this show. It's my favorite of the three. I don't know what's gonna top it. What If is coming soon. Maybe What If, will do something different for me. You've got, I know there's the She-Hulk show, but that's not for a while. They haven't even begun filming. I think Hawkeye is coming next, and I'm riffing off the top of my head. I think Moon Knight's not coming after that, is it? I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff, but I know What If and Hawkeye are probably next down the pipeline. I think part of the reason why I enjoyed this episode specifically is the cast. This was, the people who did not like the finale, I hear normally two complaints. One is that it was mostly just three actors in a room chatting it up, and they didn't enjoy it. And you're free to have your own opinion. Let me know how you feel in the comments. But I thought that the quality of dialogue and the performance of these three actors built up such tension that I was on the edge of my seat watching this finale, and I don't think any of the other shows have made me feel the same way. The other complaint is Kang, and I don't want to say Kang. That's how we all know him. We know it's Kang, but it's not really Kang. And the way that Jonathan Majors was performing He Who Remains gave a very chaotic, whimsical, very non-regal. It was a non-regal Kang, and I think a lot of people were expecting him to be a lot more like Doctor Doom, a lot more standing upright, chest out, speaking in a manner that demands attention. But it's not the same guy. It is still Nathaniel Richards, but it's not Kang the Conqueror. Even when talking about the different names he's been labeled, He Who Remains kind of shrugged them off. That all he is just a flesh and bone guy trying to protect everyone. And realizing that he's different from all the other versions of himself, I think allows a little creative license to kind of play with what's expected of you. After all, we've seen a crocodile Loki, we've seen a black Loki, we've seen a kid Loki. They didn't all act the same. Not every Loki was the same guy with the same behaviors. I mean, we got to see two Lokis together the entire show, Sylvie and Loki. And they weren't necessarily the same character doing the same thing. They weren't even performing the same powers. So I really didn't mind that this interpretation of Nathaniel Richards wasn't the Kang that everyone was looking forward to. Because personally, I feel like he had the best introduction for a character. I think back on that first introduction to Thanos we got, when one of his Chitauri soldiers went and approached him and said that Earth is protected, they have heroes, and to challenge them it would be to court death itself. And we got like a little CGI Thanos. He looks at the screen, breaking the fourth wall, and smiles, and that was cool for the time. That was I was hyped. That was a great moment. But I don't think that introduction was as good as the introduction to Kang that we got. Because I'm hyped. I'm excited. I put this up against the very first post-credit trailer that we got, where we see Nick Fury, and introducing the Avengers Initiative, like, remember that feeling? That's how I felt. And I think this was better done because we already got a taste of it. We got to see a little bit of what Kang has to offer. And I'm ready for the next phase. A lot of people doubted where the next phase of Marvel would be headed now that the first phase is gone. I always had faith in Marvel. I knew this was gonna be okay. I'm excited for what happens next. I think the other thing that makes this show itself, not just the episode, but the show itself, head over heels above the other Marvel shows, is that I feel that there is a philosophical debate that could be had there about whether Sylvie made the right choice. Was the TVA right for pruning all of these timelines? Or should there have been free will? Personally, I don't think there was never any free will. I think that everyone in every timeline was able to make any decision they wanted. There just had to be repercussions for them. Those repercussions being that they were pruned. Did they deserve to be pruned? No. But was the TVA just? Did the ends justify the means? Because now we've already seen the branches going out, and that there is a cosmic war approaching us. A multi-universal war is approaching us, and you have to decide for yourself who is right, who is wrong. There's also a lot of talk about, from the very first episode, about predeterminism, free will versus fate. Is Loki's destiny carved out for him? What makes a Loki a Loki? So many different questions came up, and I feel like even in the last episode, though we've seen such dramatic change from the character of Loki that we've been following, from being a conniving, backstabbing betrayer to becoming the protagonist that you would expect, the one who's willing to make a sacrifice and give up petty things. It didn't seem like he wanted to rule the timeline. The whole reason why he didn't want to kill He Who Remains is because he wanted to make sure that Sylvie was safe, that maybe they could have a life together. He believed He Who Remains. He believed and was afraid of the potential outcome that would happen if He Who Remains was killed. Once again, regardless of falling in love and having a change of heart and coming all of this way and maybe changing a new leaf, by the end of the episode, he's still Loki. He's still the one who can't be trusted. Even though he's made all these changes, no one trusts him. And once again, he's alone. And whenever we see Thor or any of the remaining heroes again, whoever it is that comes face to face with Loki again, will they believe him when he tells them everything that's coming next? I don't think so. And that's so exciting and interesting to me. I think what makes Loki stand out over the other shows is that they took this one theme that they were really talking about throughout the entire series and they laid that out. That was the focus. You know, can you change? Is there such a thing as free will? And Captain America, or should I say, at the time, he's Captain America now, but Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision, they had a lot of different talking points throughout the series. Loki was really focused in a way that the other shows weren't, and I think that's what got so many people so hyped. But I don't know what got you hyped. You can let me know what got you hyped by commenting below. Let's keep the conversation going. You keep the conversation going in the comments. You can reach out to me on Twitter or on Instagram at Lewis or Brandon. You can also hit me up at Comic Convo on Twitter. That's COMICONVO. You can hit us up on Facebook. We got a Facebook page. You know, just look up Comic Conversation. We're there. That's where you can find us. You know, share this video with anyone else who you think has some opinions about this, and I'll respond back. Also, you should know we have a Patreon now. You can subscribe to our Patreon page. Links included in the little description box there. And if you make a donation to our Patreon page, maybe I'll answer some of your questions here on the screen. You know, any topics that you have, I'll talk about it here on Comic Conversation. So check that out. What else can you do? Like the video, share it. There's the alarm button, really annoying alarm button. Do it, help our algorithm, or else, you know, we'll never break free from this timeline. Thanks for watching, everybody.